Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday, the 3rd of December, as we're in the home straight. My name is Phillip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Peer. We are in the home straight.
I reckon I can hold it together for another 2 weekends.
Really?
I reckon I can bring my energy, my enthusiasm, my charisma to every auction till the end of the year, Gary.
You're due for a holiday. It's been a long time. You were due for a holiday.
Question.
Can someone please give them a ticket to a voucher
No,
to FBI Travel or something else?
No, I'm staying home. I'm staying home. I've got to tell you, no, a true rest is being at home by the pool, by the barbecue,
Club Med Kingston, they call it.
reading, watching Netflix. That's a true holiday. I was talking about this with my lovely wife,
Yes.
who does not want to travel.
No, she doesn't like
No,
travel,
she doesn't like travel. Doesn't like going away.
Having said
that, when I actually get her away, she's fantastic company. But the whole lead up until that point, let alone the whole experience of flying with her.
That's what makes it better. That whole, we're not going to go on the wrestling, arm wrestling, the fighting, and then you finally get away. It's like this magnificent romance. You reconnect. This beautiful walk on the beach. Fireworks.
It is. It's great. She's great company, but getting her away is difficult. So this year we're staying at home, and I cannot wait to do nothing. I'm going to get massages. I'm going to have friends over for barbecues. I'm going to swim in the pool. I'm just going to do home stuff.
We married opposite women, didn't we? Really, because my wife says, "What are we doing in this cold place? Get me out of here. I can't stand the rain. I can't stand the wind. I can't stand the cold.
Can't stand you.
Can't stand me." That's probably part of it as well. Is that why she got a ticket for one? Anyway, so. Very different. Phil, we're getting way off track. Let's talk about the market. What's going on? I want to talk about what's hot. What's hot?
Before we do so, viewers, let's just get the towers up because we smashed it again. 82% at Gary Peer and Associates versus the industry average of 76%.
Yeah, pretty good out
So,
there.
just week in, week out, we are always performing better than the generalised market.
Yep.
And a shout out to our team who really do the most fantastic job, Gary.
Phil, you're right.
And a shout out to vendors. As I had the unique experience this weekend, Gary, where I didn't do a lot of auctions.
No, you didn't.
So I came out and I actually stood at 2 of the auctions that you did. One in Edinburgh Avenue and one in Khartoum Street.
I think you assist auctions perhaps better than you run auctions.
Well,
you found your calling. Phillip Kingston, auction assistant, he's outstanding.
Firstly, I want to just give you some constructive feedback. I thought you were great at both the Edinburgh auction and the Khartoum Street auction.
I thought you were great in your assistant role.
And it's just interesting to see the whole play unfold when you're not actually the driver of the show.
That's what I do.
And I've got to tell you, I really enjoyed it because you get to move around the crowd, you get to work with buyers. I actually really enjoyed it. But I've got to tell you, the thing that came over for me loud and clear was the intensity of the desire of buyers to buy. And I also noticed at a couple of our auctions, Edinburgh in particular, where there were people that had just literally rolled up that day and had a go at it. And we're talking about a $2 million plus transaction where people you can see the market is heating up when people walk through the door having never seen a property and just going, I'm going to have a crack here.
I don't think I told you the funny story about Edinburgh Avenue, but I spoke to somebody, I won't say who, I spoke to someone after the auction who was in another room, and they said, and I did that auction. I was glad that it went well. I felt like I did it okay. And now by the way, you know what it's like for me because I'm the guy with the vendors usually, laughing, hugging, crying, dancing with them. Experiencing all of that. I love that part of it too. Anyway, this person says, the auctioneer was very good. They didn't know it was me. And I said, oh, was he? They go, yeah, he was good. The way he built up the crescendo at the end, he really was good. And I said, oh, I'm glad. Thank you. So anyway,
I think that's probably it's probably.
So I think I've morphed into you.
Probably a view that they had such low expectations of you, and when you proved to be really good,
they didn't think it was me at all.
I do want to say one thing though, because you know how I'm always on your case to look better, right? Because we're in the business, we're at the cold face, the pointy end of the transaction.
Tell us about
I've always regarded that the reason that I have so many suits and so many pairs of shoes is because if I'm entrusted to sell somebody's greatest asset, I should look as good as I possibly can with this limited. When you're a kind of a 5 out of 10, you've got to punch to 7 or 8. Well, anyway, I'm putting it in context.
Very
anyway.
Fit, strong,
when
healthy.
the funny part about it is
Vigorous.
when we were single and we were on the dating circuit,
Yeah.
I always
People
used to look up to you going, oh, he's such a good-looking guy. And so my scripts and dialogues always had to be better to keep up because you just had this natural...
People don't want to hear
you had
this
this
stuff,
knack
yeah.
of just...
Don't
the
be
ladies
ridiculous.
gravitated
Oh,
towards you.
please.
Anyway, so I don't often, keep in mind, you're at a lot of the auctions that I do and you're in front of me, right?
Yeah.
So at this time, because you're the auctioneer, I'm actually behind you, right? And I'm looking at you now from behind because I normally see you from the front.
I don't want to hear what you've got to say
and
now.
normally, you know,
Yeah.
you're
I
kind
think
of
let's just
you're
chop
kind of like the mad professor of this game. You kind of you do look a bit dishevelled at times. You know, the eyebrows and the hair that's unkempt. But I'm watching.
natural.
I'm looking at you from behind. What you haven't worked out is that you do need to shave your neck because
You don't like that
you
part,
had
do you?
this curly grey hair sprouting from your neck.
I think it gives me a sense of elegance
Hannah,
and
and
credibility.
I'm going to buy you, and I'm going to bring it on next week's show. I'm going to buy you this little grooming
How
kit.
often do you go to the hairdresser?
I'll tell
Go
you.
every 2
I'm going to
weeks.
get you this little grooming kit, which I've got, of course,
Yeah.
which has got a thing for nasal hair,
I've got
a
one, I
thing
can't
for
get out.
trimming
Yeah.
hair, and
Yeah.
also for doing all of this grey, fluffy stuff at the back.
You don't like
Because I
that
wasn't
stuff.
quite sure whether it was off your neck or it was coming off your back and it had sprouted
And the
up.
trouble is when there's the sun behind me, it looks particularly bad, doesn't it? We've got to be really careful. When I'm in a dark room without lights, you wouldn't know the
I've got to
difference
tell you,
yet.
you've got to remember there are young, impressionable children
Yeah.
at our auctions, and it's a
Okay.
bit scary.
Is that right? You think they've seen me in their nightmares? You think, Mum, that auction.
Hairy monster, hairy monster.
Thanks for that. Well, there you go, Phil. Look, I'm not as groomed as you. I admit and accept that, but I'm comfortable with myself that way. Only you have a problem
I
with it.
suggest you
Yeah.
get outside your comfort zone.
No, I don't want to. I'm very happy that way. Anyway, let's move on.
I'm buying you that kit. I'm bringing it in next week, and I'll bring in a kit that will give away to viewers
Do you know all
too.
the savings that I've... Because of the difference between you go to the hairdresser every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks, Thursday,
Every 2
10
weeks.
a.m.
Okay, and I go every 2 months, right?
Yeah.
Do you know how much I've saved? I've bought like a building in the city
No,
from what I've saved.
You didn't.
from
You bought
all of the-
you bought a racehorse.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good one. You're right. That was it. Yeah, it wasn't the building city.
Okay, this
let's
is a
move
property
on.
show,
It's getting
Gary, not a
ridiculous,
personal
Philip.
grooming story.
I want to review some of our auctions. You know, talked about Edinburgh. We can launch into that. But what's hot right now? I want to talk about what's
Tell me.
hot.
Tell
'Cause
me.
there
Tell
are
the
some
viewers. Don't
things-
tell me. I
there
know.
are things that are
Look down
hot,
the
Phil.
camera.
Hot, as Paris Hilton said. You're hot. Well, that's hot. That's hot. That's what she said, Philip.
There's a blast from the past.
She's a great person to follow if you want to have a really intellectual journey on life. Follow Paris Hilton, Phil. Anyway, she says, what's hot? And I say, apartments.
Yes.
Established
Yes.
apartments are not red hot, white hot.
Who would have
Phil.
thought?
White hot.
Who would have thought?
thunk it? Well, we have talked about it before. That's hot.
Yep.
And family homes between $1.5 and $2 million on good blocks of land, red, white hot. Right
I'm
now.
in agreement with you, Gary. Let's deconstruct the apartments,
Okay, we
whether
can.
they're 1 bedroom or 2 bedrooms. We've now,
knocked me over
just so
with a
you know,
feather with
viewers,
some
we
of the
sell
results.
probably on average about 20 apartments per month. So
probably
we
we do.
pretty much know what we're talking
We're the
about here.
apartment kings.
1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, the occasional
queens.
3 bedroom. Massive result in Goulet Street on the
Well,
weekend.
Goulet Street, there you go, Phil. A 1-bedroom apartment. We thought, because we'd sold one of the block for $390, we knew this was better. How much better? We didn't know, Phil. But we thought maybe it's 10 or 15% better, so we priced it $4 to $440
Yes.
to allow a bit of, try to be credible
Uplift.
about the pricing, about the difference. Lo and behold, it sold for $545,000. And, I was sort of surprised, but I'm not, because it's such a unique property. It's such a standout that sometimes with standout properties, who knows what the premium
I
is.
tell you, viewers, here's the interesting thing from a real estate agent's perspective. You have this one sale, which is so far over the reserve.
Yeah.
Moving forward, do we now value the next one in the
that's
building
the difficulty,
off the
because
back of that?
There's one coming up there,
Yeah.
so you could say, well, that's going to be the same.
Yeah.
But then you won't get the reaction, and the vendor will be well prepared to sell for less than that one. And then if you quote it, far lower, then someone's going to say, oh, you're underquoting, you're going to get attacked for that. So you know what?
So there are two things.
Tell us what to do.
There are
viewers.
two things
Got
I
no
suppose
idea.
we've got to take into
Lost.
consideration. We've
Yeah.
got to take into consideration the vendor's expectations,
Yes, you do.
and then market evidence. And viewers, what I am going to say
one-off
this. I'm going to
sale
say
is
this one
tricky,
thing: we cannot value property moving forward off the back of one sale. You'd have
Yeah.
to, in a circumstance like that, you'd have to take 5 or 6 sales, look at them, and follow the base, wouldn't you?
No question about it. If you don't go pitching it where the most sales are, you're going to miss the market by valuing it, Philip, where there's just one record sale.
Yes.
Because one record sale doesn't make an entire market, does it?
Well, Gary, as they're saying for hundreds of years,
Yes.
well, maybe not hundreds of years,
One
maybe since
swallow doesn't make a summer.
Well, I was about to say, I don't know. One swallow doesn't make a summer.
Yeah.
The question is that a recent term, or was that Oscar Wilde? Viewers, if you've got an answer to who coined that phrase, you'll go into the running next week to win the personal grooming outfit. not outfit, the package, the personal grooming package.
I've got a whole summary of where sayings came from.
Yes,
like
good.
dirt poor. Do you know where dirt poor came from?
Dirt poor, where?
It came from England, where people couldn't afford to have floors on their homes, and there was just dirt. I've got a whole list of them. Somebody sent.
Bring them in, Gary.
A friend of mine, Peter, sent it. It's fascinating.
Bring it in. Bring it in.
Look, we're getting so far off track. Can we just start reviewing some of the properties? And we said we'd talk about what's hot. We've done that. Going through some of the weekend auctions, Philip. That apartment, in Goulay Street, was off the charts. Edinburgh Avenue, well, we were expecting somewhere in that sort of mid to high ones.
Yes.
Price undisclosed, but flew over $2 million. I can say that, Philip.
It did fly over $2 million, Gary.
Burnett Street, apartments with courtyards, Phil.
Yep.
They're hot.
Yep.
Hot.
So I went to see. We'll talk about Burnett Street. Is the price disclosed or undisclosed?
Burnett Street is
quickly
it is
now.
disclosed.
Quickly.
674
Okay.
against the reserve, way less. Yep.
Okay, strong result. I went to see you do the auction on the corner of Khartoum Street and Inkerman.
Yeah,
First
that
floor
was
apartment.
red hot too.
There was a crowd. It looked like it was about to rain, so we brought everybody inside. 76 people came inside to this 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment.
Very funny.
Having said that, like I look at that now, as soon as I walked in, I thought, hey, this is a good apartment. It's got a really good floor plan, got a really nice feeling to it. And we had a quote range of 5 to 550. I looked at it and I thought, okay, this has got the potential to make 6 because it's good. But we had 5 bidders there.
We had 5 or 6, Phil.
And all relatively young, so you'd probably call them all first home buyers, most probably. A couple of investors maybe thrown into the mix. But apartments are back, Gary, there's no question.
Sold, I can't say, Phil, it says undisclosed, but sold well into the 60s.
Well, you've given the cat, you let the cat out of the bag. Who did that one?
I don't know.
Well, where'd that come from, Gary? Probably a guy that was walking down the street with a very unhappy cat in a bag. And the cat got out of the bag in front of a whole lot of people, and he said, "Oh, the cat's out of the bag."
Are you taking anything? Actually scared. Okay, let's move on.
And viewers, can I just say, there is no reason to put a cat in a bag.
Well, I'll find out where that came from too, probably, because I've got all the sayings, all the origins of all the sayings.
Follow that one through.
Phil, Myrtle Street. Now that, by the way, raining cats and dogs, I found out where that came from as well.
Where'd that come from?
Because we're in the poor people in England.
We're back to poor people in England.
They used to have them in the roof, like the dogs and animals in the roof.
Yeah.
And when it rained too hard, they'd fall down from the roof and they'd slip off.
That's not true. That's ridiculous.
I'm telling you, I've got a whole lot of them.
What, you reckon because it was raining so hard, the cats and dogs that were in the...
Dropped.
That's
just, you just be making a cup of tea, all of a sudden a dog would be on your head. That sort of stuff went on, Phil, in England. You went around there.
The English people, to all of those people out there that are watching this show that are English or have English cousins or descended from England, aren't you lucky that your ancestors were convicts that got sent out here?
Right.
I've got to tell you,
crime does pay, doesn't it?
Shout out to the English people, because the English people generally think Australians are stupid and uncouth. But if you think about this, have you ever been to England in the winter?
Yes.
It is the most unpleasant, miserable, dark, horrible place, right?
Yeah.
So just think about this. Who's stupid? If you were to give people a choice, you can either take this sunny country over here with the biggest beachfront in the entire world, with natural resources and a beautiful place, or you can have this horrible, dark, cold, miserable little place. Well, what about, no, we'll keep this and the convicts can have that. If they were smart, the English, they would have said, you know what, let's leave all the convicts in England and we'll go to Australia.
Exactly right.
So take that, English watchers.
Never really thought about that before, but anyway, we've now lost our English clientele. It was nice to have you for 30 years, and we wish you well, the next real estate agent that you become part of. Philip, 23 Myrtle.
Yes.
Myrtle, that went well, didn't it?
I've got to tell you, Gary, I arrived,
that's not undisclosed.
I was running late because I was down in Bentley, doing an auction in Bentley, and I just overestimated or underestimated the time that it would take me to get from Bentley to St Kilda. Anyway, I arrived there 7 minutes late. Having said that, the crowd was happy, the coffee van was there, they were all in the spirit of community. Anyway, we conducted the auction. The reserve, is it published? Can I say it?
Yeah, you can.
The reserve
I think it
was...
$1,050,000. 150 to 115, so it was in that range.
1,150,000, let's say.
Top of the range on the day.
We had a really good auction, and at 1,200,000, I think I had the opportunity to announce it was on the market.
Yep.
1,210,000 we got to. Vendors already ecstatic.
Yep.
I just drilled and drilled and drilled, as I'm known to do, Gary.
You should have been in
and all of another buyer comes out.
255 VC HSE doesn't give you a dentist score, does it? No.
It doesn't.
No.
Anyway, we ended up selling for $1,331,000 when it was really over at 1,210,000. So the moral to that story is use an agent like Gary Peer and Associates, and you will do really well.
And a great auctioneer. I did say on the weekend that, I attribute a lot of my auctioneer to a great trainer that I had, and I think I'd like to introduce you to him some stage as well, Phil.
Boom, boom.
Yeah, boom, boom. Hey, how about the auction? I've got to talk about this one, Phil, in Kangaroo Road.
Yes.
Now, this is something that I want to bring to the viewers' attention because this is a fascinating case study.
Oh, yes.
Where,
great story.
And good on you, David Thompson, who is such a wonderful auctioneer and incredible agent and a great guy. But how about this, Phil? He brings in this auction. He says, look, it's through a solicitor. This is how they want to do business. They want the reserve disclosed. The reserve is 690, and it's going to be on all of the marketing.
So no quote range.
No quote range, Phil.
Quote
single
range.
Figure.
Single figure.
We're talking about 3 at 150 Kangaroo Road, Hughesdale. David hopped in with that authority and said the price is 690. That's the reserve. No mystique. No quote range. No. That's it. That's the price.
So we've had a few of those over the journey, but we did talk about that at length in the sales meeting about good strategy, not good strategy.
Yeah.
On balance, we said it's a case by case study.
Yeah. But interesting. Sold for 747 and a half.
Absolutely.
David said when he said at the start of the auction, I'm not putting a vendor bid in.
Yep.
Someone wants to buy. You know what the reserve is.
Yep.
And he just sort of sat there tapping his. Got a bit awkward for about 45
about
minutes.
2 days.
Yeah, about 2 days.
The clouds, those fast forward the clouds, the sunrise, the sunset.
But bang, someone started at 690, and it was on. It was on the market.
On the market.
Bang, so 747 and a half. What do viewers think about that? Declaring and disclosing a reserve price. It's something you'd like to see more of. I know there's been some discussion around it. We've done it a few times. There's pros and cons, I think, Phil.
Yep.
Let's move on. Hey, before we move on, though, to our review of the weekend's auctions, we've got Jeremy Rosen's waiting for us in one of our auctions of the week, Philip, and I don't want to get to review the auctions without doing this first, but we're in Wave Street, Elwood. We love Elwood. This is the most spectacular.
So Jeremy's waiting for us right
there,
as we're filming this.
While we're filming this,
wow,
he's waiting,
is this going to be like a real-time throw over where you're going to throw to Jeremy? Yep. Jeremy's going to come in and then pass back to us. So we're now that's the scale now of this show.
It's like via satellite.
Does that mean we've got one of those trucks outside Wave Street with that enormous pole?
Have you seen it?
I can't work out how you can get a pole that big coming out of a truck.
Well, there you go. That's modern technology.
Anyway, we've clearly got one of those. So you're going to do the throw?
I'm going to do the throw. Wave Street Elwood, extraordinary property. Let's hear about it from Jeremy Rosen's. Over to you, Jeremy.
Hey guys, great to be on the show again. I don't know what you said about this house, but I think all you need to really do is just look behind, because a picture, as they say, tells 1,000 stories. But this is as good as it gets for Elwood. 30A Wave Street in the heart of this beautiful suburb. You've got the beach just over there, the canal with a track taking you to the water, Ormond Road, a short, gentle stroll. This is beautiful real estate. Going to auction on the 7th of December at 1:30. This is a must to inspect. So please, if you're watching and you love Elwood, come and have a look at this absolute ripper.
Thank you, Jeremy. It's a great wrap for a great home. This Saturday, 1:30. I'll meet you down there, Phil.
Still trying to work that technology.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Jeremy.
Don't bother yourself. Yeah, Jeremy's there. It's all happening. We've gone to a whole new level, Phil. I'm surprised because you're usually the tech guy.
This show must have a massive budget now, Gary.
Hey, talking about massive budgets and talking about massive audiences, a big supporter of GPTV did give us a property to sell in Gertrude Street on the weekend, Philip. I want to say congratulations. We won't say the name because they may not want their names mentioned on the show.
Well, we never give surnames, Gary.
No, well, we don't, do we? But anyway, look, congratulations to those vendors at Gertrude
Shout
Street.
out to that lovely couple. Really nice people. Really nice people.
525 to 575.
You'll be the person that's watching this. You'll be, and I'm talking about the male now. I was speaking to a woman that knows you, and we were both talking about how we both thought, man and woman, thought he
very
was
handsome.
not only very handsome, but he was about the perfect package in a man.
He's one of those people that make it hard for husbands like you and me because, you know, he does all the right things, and I'm hoping there's some dark, shady stuff that's going to come out.
You can be sure, Gary, that deep buried in that guy's closet are some skeletons. There's something terrible.
It's going to be one of those, after 60 Minutes, how there's a show about that guy that did all. That'll be him one day. Anyway, we've gone from complimenting to actually ruining their life. Anyway, congratulations.
True story.
What's that?
About me talking to a woman that knows him that we both thought. Okay. I had a man crush on him. She had I don't know what her crush was.
Creepy.
Anyway, if you want to ring me to let me, for me to let you know who that woman is, I'll let you know.
We'll let you know, Michael. But anyway, 525. 575 the range, sold for 637. I know they were delighted, and it's just great working for people.
Good. Come on, let's move it on, Gary. We've got a big weekend of auctions. How many auctions have we got?
We've got
we've got more than 12 auctions.
I think we've got
16. Count them up.
We've got 19 auctions, Phil. On Saturday, we've got 12
over
10 suburbs. We start off in Cheltenham. Leo Samuel is going to be in Cheltenham, in Ward Street, auction this fine
Gary,
property.
this probably looks so good. I've been meaning to get down and have a look at it. I haven't had a chance yet,
no, you're just too
but
busy,
that looks absolutely beautiful.
Well, you won't be there at the auction because you'll be with me in this fantastic property in York Street, talking about England.
Yes.
This is better than anything we've got going around in England. This is a fantastic
I might
property.
Dress up as a duke there, Gary.
Oh, the grand old Duke of York.
He had 10,000 men. He marched them up to the top of the hill, then he marched them down again.
Someone told us
and when they were up, they were up.
Yeah.
And when they were down, they were down. And when they were only halfway up, they were neither up nor down.
The show is almost over for the year. That's the good news for the viewers. Anyway, this is a
great property,
yep.
Great address, great suburb, and we'll have some fun there.
Great vendors, and we know some of the buyers there. Yep. Good luck, and we look forward to seeing you there. Phillip, we've got triple auction action at 11:30 on Saturday.
I'll tell you something funny about that vendor in York Street, Gary. Yep. Just a little small world that it is, and for me, obviously, to be pretentious on this show as I like to be. Mm-hmm. But I was in Whistler in end of January end of January this year.
Isn't that wonderful? Of course, that's your chalet.
No, I don't have a chalet there.
No,
but I was in.
Yes, you're just going through there on your international skiing tour, first class.
I was in Whistler in this very beautiful Italian restaurant.
Of which your assistants carried all your boots up for you. Yes, go on, Phillip. Tell us about this.
Anyway, we've had this great night as a family.
You go on.
In this restaurant. Yeah. Anyway, we go to leave the restaurant. And
how many hats was it, or tyres?
And this person opens the door for me.
Yep.
And of course, being the gentleman that I am, I go into my pocket to try and find some change to give it. Anyway, it's our vendor of York Street that's opened the door for me.
Is that right?
Small world.
How much did you tip him for?
And what a lovely, pretentious story.
Yeah, wasn't that wonderful? I'm sure you're relating well to the common person watching the show here, Phil. Can we move on? At 11:30, we're in Clinton Street in Brighton East. You'll have to make sure you get very quickly away from York Street.
Gary, how good is this property in Clinton Street? First of all, Clinton Street's a gorgeous address because it's walking distance to shops and tram and Hawthorne Road, and of course beautiful parkland gardens. And this is as good as it gets in brand new, beautiful homes.
By the way, if you're watching this on Tuesday night before 7 o'clock, hurry up and get down to the auction.
In Hawthorne Road, number 16 Hawthorne Road. As you're probably watching this, if you jump in the car right now, the auction's at 7 o'clock. So come and have a coffee and maybe even a glass of champagne.
Beautiful homes, some images up there. What a magnificent offering that is. We just sort of slipped that one in. Phil, Glen Huntly Road, I'm going to be going to Glen Huntly Road, meeting Idan Gutman at 888 Glen Huntly Road. Now, that's a lucky number. Phil.
Well, there's no question to all of our Asian viewers, if you're interested in buying an investment property or somewhere to live, there is no question that buying something at 888 Glen Huntly Road would be a very lucky move.
At 11:30, Phillip, we've got something to do with Horn.
Yes.
And Leo Samuel.
Okay.
And Leo Samuel is going to be in Horn Street, and you can be very careful with your words there, with Nicky Janover auctioning this wonderful property.
What a great location, Gary. Walk to everything. You've got the train station at your doorstep. You've got the trams at your doorstep. You've got the classic cinema at your doorstep. You've got all of Glen Huntly Road cafes and shops. And, of course, stroll to the Elwood Beach from there, Gary.
Phil, if you want to. Triple auction action at 12:30, starting off at Hawthorne Road, Phillip. I'm meeting Arlene Joffe there.
780 square metres of prime East Brighton land, Gary, or a beautiful home. Can't go wrong buying that. Buy a beautiful house and underpinned by a strategic parcel of land.
Leo does his second auction for the day in Cambrook Road. Phil, take us through this one.
Well, Gary, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom apartment in a really good looking building.
Love it at Marine Parade. Phillip, right on the beach, 12:30, you're meeting with Jan Dosen.
Well, Gary, I've done the video tour of that property, viewers. If you want to go online, have a look at the video tour. But what an incredible property with the 2 street frontage. You bring the car parking in from the rear. You're looking straight down onto the yacht club, and you can walk to Luna Park, walk to Donovan's, walk to the Stoke House.
You can.
Just a great spot.
Great position.
You know what? And what a great time of year to be buying it.
Double auction action, Phillip, at 1:30. We've talked about Wave Street. We've thrown already to Jeremy, so we're looking forward to that. You know all about it already. We're going to be in Mimosa Road, another auction of Leor's, and this has been incredibly popular.
Gary, a wonderful townhouse, 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms, in immaculate condition, and of course, anything to do with Carnegie. We just love. I've got to tell you, Gary, since we've now got an office in Carnegie, one in Murrumbina and one in Bentley, and I was driving on the weekend from Carnegie to Bentley, and I'm just passing all of these boards.
Did you run anybody over?
Just fantastic. No, I didn't. Although I haven't had an accident in days.
God forbid, don't you? I know, it's incredible.
Although I did drop Darren Krongold home on Saturday night after being at Jeremy's party. Shout out to Jeremy and Mishy and the family. Great party Saturday night. And I dropped him home and then reversed into a tree.
Is that right?
So anyway... I've got to, if you want a great job, if you want to buy a great business, buy a panel beater that looks after my car.
Buy Inkerman Panels, because I think they do a lot of our work, Phil.
They do.
And they've got my mother's wing there, the Edith Peer wings there, because she was always in there. She was their best customer. But you're coming pretty close, keeping the tradition alive. Phillip, we're going to be in Gibson Street at 2:30. Leo, another auction of his. He's got a very busy day.
Caulfield East, Gary, great building, great property, 2 bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms, a lock-up garage. That is a really good home and a great location.
Talking about your love for Carnegie, Phillip, you can actually come and do an auction. You're going to get a look in. Leo's going to give you one because there's double auction action with David Thompson, Phillip, at 2:30.
What an extraordinary home. 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, off-street car parking for 3 cars, including a lock-up garage. Pretty as a pin, neat as Nelly. Just a beautiful, beautiful home, and looking forward to that, Gary.
Who's Nelly?
Look it up in your stupid list.
Fair enough. Well, that house is what we say, Tomo tested, Phillip.
Tomo tested.
And he's proved it.
Yeah.
Phillip, 10:30, double auction action on Sunday. We start off in Narrawong Road, a great address, good looking home. I'm doing this auction together with Mr. Guzenfield.
Gary, as many as 6 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and what a great address, great accommodation there. And that part of Caulfield South just goes from strength to strength.
You are going to be in Oak Crescent, one of our favourite little Crescent streets.
Well, Gary,
that's a beautiful location.
We've talked about that on GPTV before, being only one of a few that do that arc, that circle. 4 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, magnificent lock-up garage. That's a property that has absolutely everything that opens and shuts.
Back to apartments at 11:30, and don't I love it on Sunday, Phillip, in Hawthorne.
Don't I? Do you know, that's one thing about your auctions that I noticed.
Yes.
And you were very good across the weekend, and constructive criticism is something that should always be passed on. But you drop a lot of words at the end. I've noticed with your language, you drop a lot of the end part of the word off. Like, don't I? You just said, don't I?
How you
don't
doing?
I?
How you doing?
Don't I? So what you meant to say was don't I, but you turn it into don't I. Well, how do you spell don't I?
Well, you don't do it, do you?
No, I don't do
you're
it.
Saying don't I? So you're saying you're doing it as
no,
well?
You do. You've dropped a lot. In fact, your English is appalling.
Yeah, well, I think maybe I was in my past life. Maybe I was a far north Queenslander.
Do you know? It's like you grew up in Cootamundra and I was born to Austrian parents.
Exactly right. Something.
I'm sure your dear parents, whose pronunciation, because English wasn't their first language, but their grasp of English is far better than yours.
Could well be, Phillip. I was busy in my childhood doing
and your German is not to be desired either.
It's not, nicht so schön, not so schön, Phil. We are going to be in Marriott Street, Caulfield, 11:30. You're doing this auction with Darren Krongold. It's one of 2 units, Phillip.
It is, Gary. That's a great property. 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, a double lock-up garage, one of only 2. Pretty hard to get those, so really good buying.
1B Wanda, 1111 Wanda. That's going to be at 1:30 p.m. You're going to have a little break at 12.
Gary, what a great location that is. Walk to Caulfield Park, walk to Glenferrie Road, walk to the tram and Hawthorne Road. Great location and a great property. Plenty of accommodation. In fact, very large accommodation.
It's a great looking property, Phillip.
There we go again. And you think he's joking, but that's true.
At 2:30, I know you're going to be meeting Ben Rothschild, when you're going to be doing this auction? Tell us
Gary,
about it.
doing this auction, what a great property. 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and plenty of car parking there. Wonderful home.
Curtain Falls in Alinda Street in Caulfield, South Phillip, going to be at 3:30.
27 Alinda Street.
Great
This is a
looking
standout home. Congratulations to the developer of this property who has done, you know, he's an obsessive gentleman. I mean that in a very positive, complimentary way, because the more obsessive a developer is, the better the product.
No question.
And he's worked really hard here to deliver something that I think is incredible, because it's not attached. It's one of only 2, but it's not attached. So there's no body corporate, there's no issues, freestanding and magnificent and palatial inside. Also includes a lift, so any empty nesters that are wanting to scale out of their home with big gardens but still want a large property, take the lift to the first floor.
A spectacular offering, Phillip. Really does close out the weekend on a high
Wow.
home, doesn't it?
Wow.
And we're in December. It doesn't sort of feel like December, really. It feels like there's lots of real estate sales and listings to go, Phil.
Well, you've got to love Melbourne. First day of winter was one of the coldest days in months.
First day of summer, you mean,
yeah, first day of summer.
Yes,
yeah.
It was a very wintry first day of summer. But look, that's a big wrap. We've gone way over time with lots of nonsense, but we've talked a bit about what's hot out there, Phillip. We've talked about auctions that
We've talked about your poor English pronunciation.
Talked about your wonderful assistance at auctions, which I think is a new niche that you've discovered, and just goes to show you can always learn things about yourself later on.
Well, let's end the show on a high. Yeah. You did do auctions where I was there to critique you, and I thought you were absolutely fantastic.
Well, that's very kind of you. I'll take the compliment. Thank you, Phillip. But I've had a lot of years of learning and observing you.
So, don't you love that? This is like a love fest now. I give you a compliment, you give me one back. It's the law of reciprocity.
That's it. We're going to leave you on that lovely kumbaya note. Signing off this week on GPTV. We'll bring you another couple of episodes still this year. I'm Gary Peer.
I'm Phillip Kingston. Have a fantastic first week of summer.